Hi everyone, I'm Em Smith, Head of Marketing at Door Robotics. Today I'm sitting down with our founders, Mike Soniat and Wayne Newitz, to talk about the story behind Dory. Thank you both first for sitting down with me today. We spent a lot of time talking about Dory and where we're headed, but I want to take some time to look back at where it all began. So with that, let's start at the beginning. So this first question is for Mike. Before Open Door Robotics existed, there was a friend who inspired this whole journey. Can you tell us that story?
Right. So I have a good friend that I've known for actually a business partner for 25 years who had polio as a child. And in his later years, he started having a lot of issues with mobility using a scooter and a wheelchair and some hand canes. And I'm an inventor, so I was trying to come up with something to help him get through life and never had any great ideas. But I built a robot to open and close my door just as a fun project, and showed it to Rich, and he said, "I would love to have that in my house." So that's when the light bulb went off. Like, wow, this might actually be useful. So I started talking to him about it, and that's really where the idea started. But when he said that, I really started thinking about it, and just serendipitously at that moment, the Hackster was having a contest for products for accessibility. So I entered it into that contest and I won second place out of about 400 projects out there. This is the world, right? Um, so that gave me even more reason to think this is a thing. The judges were people with uh, mobility challenges, and so they were giving me feedback, and that's really what kicked it off. But it was Rich's idea initially, and then it grew from that.
All right. So do you think that competition was when you realized like a better solution didn't exist, like that was the sort of driving force behind creating something better?
Course, yeah, immediately I thought, well, this has to be available. I'll just find one for Rich and say, go buy this. But there wasn't. And the only door opening device that I found has been the same design for 35 years, and that is the box that mounts above the door with the arm. And it's clunky, it's very expensive. You have to have it professionally installed and run electricity to it, and it's probably a couple of $1,000. So some people may put them on their front door, but nobody puts them on interior doors, right? Because it's too expensive, it's ugly, it needs power. But I was very inspired by that. I talked to Wayne, my co-founder, uh, who has much more of a flair for marketing and design than I do, and I said, "There's a trade show in Houston, uh, Abilities Expo, and can you help me make a flyer?" Because I was going to go there and talk to the vendors and find out, you know, is this a product or am I just missing it when I do my search? So we printed out 100 flyers that Wayne designed, went to the show with the intention of just walking around talking to the vendors and saying, would you promote this product? What do you think of it? But the show was so amazing. There were so many people there. The vendors were just inundated with uh, maybe customers, maybe not, but individuals that were interested in their products. So I couldn't get through to them. I would stand there and I would wait, and I was standing there with my flyers, and this gentleman came up in a wheelchair and he said, "What do you have there?" And I said, "No, this door opening. We had already named it Dory." And he said, "Wow, that's great. Where can I get one?" So then I thought, I'm talking to the wrong people. I don't need to talk to the vendors. I need to talk to the people. So I mean, I was just crowds of people were coming around me and I'm talking about this and I just, put on my salesperson hat and just started walking around asking people, "Hey, can I show you this?" Being very respectful. "Can I show you this? What do you think about it? I'm just doing market research. We don't have a product yet." And so I just had grabbed a small stack. I went back out to my vehicle, grabbed some more flyers, came back in, and then the show, uh, the people that run the show came over and said, "What are you doing, sir?" And I told them, and they said, "You can't do that." So I had to
What
leave.
kind of badge do you have?
Right, right. But
No, no,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna pop in right now just for
yeah,
the
yeah.
in case anyone from the great organization at Abilities Expo's listening. We are now paid for and have
Right,
attended and
right.
continue to attend your shows
Right,
Yes.
with
yes,
real
yes.
money. So okay.
That's true. So and they actually I did speak to the person that I say threw me out. They didn't throw me out. They asked me to leave, but I said they said, "Would you like to exhibit?" And I said, "As soon as I have something a product, I'd like to exhibit." So she gave me the information. So I left on good terms, and we did actually come back last year and exhibit, and we'll be there again this year. But that really that's a long way to say that I was convinced when I walked out of there that there is a market for this. People are very interested in it, um, and it's worth building. And I came back and told Rich, and he was very excited that that it could actually become a product. So
Right.
And I'll jump in now and with also a bit of a confession I'm going to make here in public. I didn't design that brochure all by myself, Mike.
no,
I had a little
no,
bit of help, and
yeah,
actually, you know who helped. You know the person. So I was when Mike brought me in, and serendipitously, I wanted to throw that word out because you did, sir. Brought me into this project. I again created the brochure. I went to a friend of mine who is a real graphic artist, not myself, and she helped. And turns out this individual friend of mine, her niece has suffers from spinal meningitis as an infant, and it's of course affected her development. And so when my friend realized the brochure she was creating, immediately interested and immediately socializing this with her niece, their family, the whole community of folks. For without exception, said that there was nothing else on the market like this, nothing else that wouldn't cost an arm and a leg and a
Yeah.
bunch of invasive home installation. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was immediately evident to everyone we talked to that this was something new, this was something different.
Yeah. And one of the some of the feedback I got from the contest was very specific. It needed to be portable, because that's something that was not available. It needed to be, wireless. It didn't have to be plugged into the wall. It needed to be able, I guess it ties into portability, but being able to be moved from one place to another easily. Uh, those were all original design specifications. Others where it needs to work on different types of floors, carpeting, flat floor, tile, what have you, wood floors, and different types of interior doors. So it all that quote unquote market research, which was just me talking to people, really uh, determined how the product would eventually look.
Yeah. Well, all of those moments sort of, I think, accumulate into what it's become now. I mean, like you're saying, all these serendipitous moments, but everyone from the very beginning, it sounds like, was heavily invested in this journey and, either would benefit from it themselves or know somebody that would benefit from it. Were there other moments when you felt like Dory stopped feeling like a personal project and more of that big picture, not even in an entrepreneurial sense, but just, what a difference this could make on a larger scale?
I
Whatever.
think did the Abilities Expo last year. I think Wayne would agree. Just the outpour of emotion that we got from people was not expected.
Yeah.
Wayne and I have been in the software business, construction software, for 35 years, and we've done a lot of trade shows, and we've never seen the kind of excitement about our product. People came to the booth and would tell their stories, and some of them are gut wrenching, right? I mean,
Yeah.
a couple that stand out to me is one woman said, "This would give my mom her dignity back, because she would be able to close the bathroom door." I mean,
That,
that's
that, that
pretty
that's a
powerful.
conversation pauser right there.
Yeah, yeah,
When you hear that, and you're
right,
standing there realizing, wow,
right,
this little robot,
right, right. I mean, apparently they had replaced all the interior doors with curtains because she couldn't maneuver around them, and she was behind a curtain instead of a door when she when she needed privacy. And then the other one that really sticks in my mind, and Wayne, you may have others, a young teenager, 15 years old or so. Um, I don't know the extent of his disability, but he was in a wheelchair type device, and he was so excited. He was crying, and he wasn't really very verbal. And I asked his mom, like, "Is this good? Is it bad?" I mean, he was very excited. And she said, "He's so excited because he's never been able to open and close his own bedroom door. And
Yeah.
like this is real. Like you really feel like you're doing something valuable and meaningful. So Wayne, you may,
That was a very emotional event. This is
yeah,
an emotional product. It really kind of
yeah.
is. And but where it hit me, Mike, was we brought actually prior to this. We went to an event hosted by the organization Resna, very technically oriented event for assisted living technology. Many papers are presented there, and we were part. This was when Dory was still very much in its prototype stage. But we had the little prototype model with us and our little door, and we went as part of the developers pavilion or forum, and to present new products that were not on the market yet, and to get feedback from the community. And I really thought that we'd be relegated to a corner. We're just a small little robot, but uh, with no ego here, we were kind of the star of the show. Maybe it's because we actually had a.
There it
There you
is.
go. There it is. There's the
We
there's the
won.
award.
We won.
Uh,
Yep.
you don't think it's that exciting to see a model door being opened and closed remotely and automatically, especially if you're deep into the designing of it. But just that simple action that people could do that and see it happening, that was my 200-watt light bulb moment.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect, and that we were greeted with such interest. We won the developers contest. I'm not again sure what to call it
And we
exactly,
were
but
up against some really, kind of high tech, really complex, great stuff. And we have,
yeah,
the little robot that opens and closes the door. You think, well, this is not that exciting, but because it is simple and accessible and people would use it every day of their life, it's very impressive. And people want simple, right? They
Yeah.
want something that they can put on their door instead of something that has to be installed or, some complex thing that probably some of the other entries were developed at universities and very, high tech, high dollar devices. But we had the little robot that could, and we were they really liked us. So that was,
yeah.
Puts it in
yeah.
perspective, like how critical of a function it is.
And we don't
Um,
think about it. If
right.
it's not difficult for us, we don't think about it um, unless unless someone that it's not easy for. And through this whole experience, it's over and over. People say, they're trying to open and close doors by grabbing the hinge, and they, literally broke fingers and smashed fingers because if you're in a wheelchair or a scooter device or something like that, you're trying to maneuver around a small hallway. Exterior doors are usually easier because you normally have more space around that. But think about a
Hmm.
bathroom door or a bedroom door coming out of a hallway. Those are really difficult to navigate. In a bathroom, even if you can get in, you have to turn around to push the door back closed. So, there's a lot of navigation there that we don't
Yeah.
think
And,
about.
and then add, like you were kind of mentioning, the ad hoc solutions people were coming up with using claw devices and other things to try to get around
Right,
this
right.
issue, right? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I want to really quickly, because we've already sort of progressed into trade shows and awards and things. I kind of
Right,
want to go
right.
back for a second, and I want to know more about when you brought Wayne in, Mike. Because was it just the flyer or?
I've always been a software guy, been in the software business all my career, and I've always been an electronic hobbyist building things. But the one thing I don't know how to do is sell anything, uh, to get people to know about it. So, I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, once, Rich and I had our interaction, I thought this is a product. I thought I can build this, but there's no way I can sell it, or promote it. So I talked to Wayne about it. We had already become friends, already built respect for him in the company that we worked for, together. And, and I pitched it, and no Wayne. I mean, Wayne was all in. He was very excited about it, and so it wasn't just the flyer, but that was kind of like, this is something I need help with. But it, of course, became when we that was before Open Door Robotics. That was just Dory, the robot we're building, and then we decided to build a company when we realized this was going to happen. We were going to get investors, so we became co-founders and brought great, wonderful people like M into
Yeah.
the company
Very
here. So yeah, so I think it just worked out. It was a good time that we knew each other, and I needed to have a partner in this. So
Well, I hope I haven't blushed too much here, Mike. Thank you very much. I have a slightly different origin story. I thought it was all around a Zener diode that you needed a specification for, and I was the only person you knew what a Zener diode was. So
right, yeah, I
anyway,
do remember
but
that.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was it. That was the clincher there.
it
Yeah,
really was.
right.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I even knew how to
Too
spell
bad
it
we
right.
didn't wind up using that Xeno diode, but it was a good idea.
All right, yeah. Anyway,
Wayne,
but
what was your first impression of Dory when you saw it? What were, because
my
you,
first
you saw
impression,
the picture.
well, I mean, I knew Mike to be a pretty extensive hobbyist, knew his way around a breadboard. So I was interested, but my first impulse again was, I like to say, I was an engineer, and then I learned how to string words together, form complete sentences, and then became a sales and marketing person. So my very first impulse was, cool idea. There has to be a million of these out on on Etsy and on so my first thing, my impulse was to just go, like Mike said, let me go find one for you, Rich. My
Yeah.
first impulse was, oh, that's a neat idea. Let's see who else is doing this right now. Got to be a million of them out there. And there was no one
Yeah.
doing what we're doing at the price point that we can hit with with no installation required. I mean, it was, to use boring business terminology, kind of this greenfield for us, which surprised me because it was just a combination of a couple unique approaches to a simple problem,
Hmm.
but put together something that nobody had put together before. So I don't, that was the whole thing that hit me, and then I was all chips all in after that. Yeah.
Say Rich, not only did he inspire the product, but he actually is the one that chose the name, because when I first again, I told you I don't know how to sell anything or promote anything. So my first attempt at a name, I like to do show and tell. You can see that. My first attempt at a name was this. This was actually one of the doors, one of the early doors made out of a box, but it was called Door 2D2.
Yeah.
Which we
I
are
thought that was
offering at a discounted price. No,
I
just
thought
kidding.
that was cool, but yeah, and Rich didn't like that very much. So he decided he was giving me some ideas, and he thought about the robot Wall E from the Disney, and it's like
Mhm.
you could do Door E. It's like, wow. As soon as he said it, like that's it. That's the name, and then it does kind of have a personality around that. So yeah, yeah.
What are some of the biggest challenges between the first prototype or the first few prototypes and like where we're at now?
Oof.
What would you say stands
Uh,
out as like the biggest hurdles?
I
Wayne, you want
I'll jump in and then you can correct my misstatements. I
to?
mean, to me, it was kind of at a high level. It was us getting the product to a functional point. It did what we wanted it to do. Open. Now it was time to optimize the electronics, optimize the form factor, design a form factor that could be manufactured at scale at low cost. Those the type of detailed final touch engineering, and that's where we took its well now current form.
We knew that we could only go so far as a hobbyist and an electrical engineer. We could only go so far with it. We built what I would call proof of concept prototypes. That's what we went to the trade show with last year. They worked in a very pretty controlled environment with certain floors and certain doors. Worked really well. We built an app. Um, works with Alexa, so the concept works, but we knew we couldn't take that and put it, onto the market as a commercial product. We couldn't do it from the standpoint of the design. We couldn't do it from the standpoint of the mechanics or the electronics or anything because we've never built a hardware product before. We're software guys, right? If
Right.
there's a problem with the software, you just push a new version of it up to the cloud and everybody's happy. But hardware is different. You have to make sure it's right. So we were not so arrogant to think that we could just build it ourselves. We built it to this point. Then we decided we needed a product development company. I don't know if this is a future question you were going to ask, but this is like we knew that we couldn't do it, so we went out. We actually interviewed like 8 different companies. We
Yeah.
found 10. We whittled down to 8. We interviewed all of them. We had multiple meetings with at least 6 of them. I mean, really narrowed it down because this is so important. And we wound up choosing Very Technology. Uh, they designed the Peloton, by the way, but they have a great portfolio, and they were just incredible engineers and staff that made us feel like they're not going to replace what we have done and build something new, which some of the companies wanted to do. They just scrap all that and we'll build what we think is right. Uh, but I also said from the very beginning, and Wayne will attest to this, almost every meeting with them, I said, all right, I'm not an engineer. So I want to make clear that I want your input. There's no ego around this. We want it to be right. So we've been working with them for several months, and it's
Mhm.
like they took each part of it, like, okay, where are the challenges? Well, it doesn't work on carpeting very well. It doesn't work on certain surfaces. Okay, let's attack that. The way that it attaches to the door needs to be improved. It needs to be easily removed and put back on and charged. So we kind of went through meeting with them twice a week for several months and just tweaking it, getting it closer and closer to our vision. And they actually provided a lot. Hey, what about this? And they had some great ideas. Um, then near the end of that, they brought in an industrial engineer and just like blew us away with the new design.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's evolved a lot, but we didn't hand it off to anyone. We were very involved the whole time. We did have a vision for it. We've stuck with that vision, but we
Yeah.
love the way the product looks and works, and we can't wait to get our hands on the next prototypes, and we will be sharing those with the world at the Abilities Expo in Houston at the end of August and at the end of
End
July.
of July, sir.
End of
Yeah,
July,
And
sorry,
that's right.
beginning
yeah.
of August,
That's
right.
right.
So yeah, that'll be the debut of the new Dory.
Is there a conversation with Very or like a testing moment or like an interaction that stuck with you in all of that?
The moment that stuck out most for me was when we saw uh, that automated
Yeah,
video that
yeah,
Scott
yeah,
did that
yeah.
showed us. It's going to be on our website. So amazing. Like I thought, wow, that's what Dory looks like. Because before that, it was, close to my heart and I was very excited about it. But when I saw that, I thought I could buy this I could see this in the store, right, or on Amazon. So that was the moment for me. Wayne, you have a
I mean, I think
different
it's a
one?
decorative item as well as a functional item. It's just so beautiful looking right now. But I don't know. I'm
Just put
sure
them
I'm
all
I'm
over
sure
your
I'm
house.
prejudiced. I'm sure, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it was and yeah, the function we knew the functionality was going to be there, as Mike said, tweaking things, worrying after things like torque and traction and frictional, coefficients of friction and all of that. Those were, engineering, completely doable, understandable engineering challenges, which very helped us with. But it was the industrial design of the product itself that was just mind blowing. It's a really, really adorable little robot, isn't it?
Hmm.
If someone discovers Dory for the first time 6 months from now, like what do you hope they see? What do you hope the impression is?
Where has this been my
Yeah.
whole
Yeah,
life or whatever?
yeah,
Yeah, real. Like, why has
right,
no one thought
right.
of this? I've always,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
go through life always, oh, why didn't I think of that or that or that or that? Well, here it is. something we
Yeah.
thought of. And
We had a lot of that at the
yeah,
show last year, and
yeah.
I'm very excited about this year when we have something so much better. Now, last year, even with the current the previous prototype, people said, "How much? Where can I buy it? Can I buy it now?" And that was before the redesign. So I think it's going to be magnified many times this year. But yeah, I think the first thing is I think Wayne is on point there. Like, you know, why hasn't there been something like this already? If you're a consumer of it,
Yeah.
why haven't I seen this before? Like, of course, why wouldn't somebody create this? I mean, technology, it's not rocket science that we're doing here. And we also, so the other thing at the trade show that really impressed us is the biggest percentage of people there are probably potential users of Dory, but also a huge group were the caretakers and the organizations around taking care of people, that are living with disabilities. And so those people also saying, "Oh, I want to get you in front of our group. We want to recommend this to our patients and our customers. Um, we want to create a relationship with the VA and with Medicare, so maybe people that would have a challenge even buying something at that price would be able to get some. But yeah, it's a huge uh, community of people that are supporting uh, our potential Dory users.
Right. Occupational therapists in particular were very
Mhm.
attracted to the idea. I was showing one individual how with our app you can control multiple doors across, and see their status, see what doors have been open, closed, and et cetera. And I could see and hear the wheels turning about how that
Mhm.
could be applied in a in an environment where where the OTs work, monitoring multiple patients. So,
Right.
yeah, it was, just the use cases are just popping up every time we talk to a new person. We discover a
Right.
new
Right.
potential use case. So,
And the even the personal caretaker. I mean, one of the things I had a conversation at the show was someone who has a parent that is has difficulty, but they still live alone. And so
Mhm.
with Dory, they could go into the app and say, you know, has mom opened her door today? Has she opened her bedroom door today? Or if not, maybe there's a problem, or maybe I can remotely open it or close it or what have you. So you can kind of keep track of what's going on. Our plan is to have notifications, uh, be able to set schedules and say, okay, open the door at 6 a.m. or close the door at a particular time, and then also let me know if when the door opens, right? If I'm not there, if I'm the caretaker or something else. So those are some other kind of use cases for the product, other than just I want to open the door right now.
yeah,
Peace of mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
for
right.
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And dignity and security and
Mhm.
and
Right.
safety. All of those things come with with the product. So.
What excites you most about what's next for Open Door Robotics? I mean,
Oof.
gotta be launch, right?
Right. Product launch. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
it's
mean, yeah,
very exciting.
we haven't officially gone to market yet. We haven't, gotten that. People still take the $1 bill and frame them and put them up on walls. I don't know, but I think, and
Yeah,
it's
the virtual wall.
and it's not about the money. It's about we have brought this product to market and people want it. It's useful. They're buying
Yeah.
it. That's going to be the
Yeah.
the the big emotional moment, right? And then the
Mhm.
real work begins.
Yeah.
Because there's so much potential within Dory to do so much.
Right.
Think of all of the different accessibility challenges around the home. Right. And so, Open Door Robotics, that's our mission, and Dory's our first product, but the mission being,
Right.
let's make daily life more livable through simple, easy to use technologies. So,
Right. And you know, I feel the same way. Like I'm very excited about the Dory product, and the next big milestone will be, having that product available, and seeing it on the shelf,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether that's online or wherever that is. But yeah, we started Open Door Robotics because we thought now once we have this community of Dory users, we want to continue to get feedback and say, what do you want us to build next?
Yeah.
I mean, we want to build this into a company that supports several products, but all in the vein of the accessibility market, or community. And if this wasn't done yet, there are lots of other things that haven't been done yet. I
That's right.
guarantee it. So
And we're thinking about some of them.
yeah, right, right.
I love it. That's a great answer. And kind of actually, anything we didn't talk about today that you want people to know about the company, about our group, anything?
I think almost everyone has somebody in their life who, who suffers from challenges of everyday living, or knows someone, and so you know, um, just making sure that Dory is known and seen out there in the market as a kind of a unique solution for a problem that a lot of people just take for granted. That's what I want to see happen next. That makes sense.
Right, exactly. We want to be the known in this community for those are the guys that open doors, right? That sounds like a see. I'm not a marketing guy, but yeah, like we're the guys that built that, and I want to be the guys that built Dory, and I want to be the guys that are looked to for, hey, I have a great idea, I can't build it myself. How about those open door robotics guys, right? Because once we prove ourselves with this product, then we can move on from there. So
Thank you both so much for taking time. I know things have been really crazy with not only the Dory project, but just everything else that we've been working on in the late weeks. So
and thank you,
I
Em, for
really,
all the
really
work
enjoyed
you've
this
done.
conversation, and I
Yeah.
know that people love to hear the story and where we're at. So
Well,
And
thank
thank you,
you.
Em, for all the work that you've done for Dory, for Open Door Robotics, and with us. And couldn't do it without you. So we appreciate you.
Thank you
thank you
very
very much.
much. All right.
All
All
right.
right. Well, bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.